Good morning, College Comp. This week, we're really looking at a bunch of different ways to evaluate sources. And how do you tell whether a source is reliable or credible? And there's a few different things that we go over in the readings and the concepts for this week. Um, First off, always, just as a general principle, remember to go back to the rhetorical triangle. So always, and in particular, the two sides of audience and purpose. Making sure that you're always, when you're evaluating a source, determine who their audience is and then what their purpose um, for that. But in determining their audience, that's going to tell you a lot of what you need to know um, regarding bias and whether you can identify underlying assumption and whether or not that source is trying to say something in particular or not. From the reading, a couple of strategies just to use as you work with sources. Um, One of the strategies that I didn't learn till probably my junior, senior year of college, that saved me a lot of time was every time that you evaluate a source, you finish reading it and you've determined you want to use that source for your paper. Go ahead and write a summary right then and there. I mean, annotated bibliographies are a common thing in college. And if you go ahead and create that annotated bib entry essentially right after you're done um, evaluating a source, it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. For example, suppose you have a 8 to 10 page paper and you need to use 8 to 10 sources. Generally speaking, it can be kind of expected. You're going to expect maybe one source per page is kind of, you'll find a correlation there as you get into your college classes. But suppose you have 8 to 10 sources. Suppose you don't write down the bibliographic information as soon as you're done with a source. You go and you write your 8 to 10 page paper and you think, awesome, I'm done. Got this paper out of the way, it's a big deal. And then you realize, oh no, I got to do an annotated bibliography. I'm not done. And it's more just tedious. It's not that it's difficult, it's just tedious. And it's going to take up a lot of time to do that. Versus if you've done that along the way, it's already finished. So when you're done with your paper, you're actually done with your paper. Let's see. So what are the concepts? Reliability versus credibility. Um, a lot of students, when they first enter a college composition, they're kind of asked, what's the difference here? What's the difference between reliability and credibility? And they're like, wait, what? There's a difference? Absolutely. So reliability is going to refer to the information within a source and the facts and the information, the claims that are being made within the source. How accurate are those facts, those claims, the information within it? Credibility, on the other hand, refers strictly to the author of that source, not to the information within it, and how much we trust that author's ethos or their credibility. So the big difference between reliability and credibility, to remember, reliability has to do with the actual material within a source, and the credibility has to do with the source's author instead of the content. Now, another um, another thing to know the difference between is angle of vision and degree of advocacy. Now, those are just really fancy words relating to author bias. In the reading that we looked over, they have these elaborate definitions and these examples. And really, I want to boil it down to something simple for you so it's easy to remember if you're ever evaluating a source or rhetorically analyzing a source. Angle of vision is the author's unintended bias. It's very subtle. It's very implicit. A lot of times, authors don't realize that they're incorporating angle of vision or unintended bias into their work. Now, degree of advocacy, on the other hand, is going to be intended bias. That's very explicit, in your face, straightforward. They're not trying to hide the fact that they are very, very biased in the way in which they present material. Those are just some of the key aspects to keep in mind as you evaluate sources, as you look at them in preparation of building your own persuasive argumentative paper towards the end of the semester.